If you have an itch to get way off the beaten path in Romania, I think this place is probably where you need to come.
Really squelchy. The main thing is to not fall down.
Oh my goodness, it's yet another totally adorable little village house. Well, it's amazing for such a tiny town. I mean, I think it's literally one street. We managed to get slightly lost. All right, it is breakfast time. I'm gonna say that I'll probably not dive into these raw onions as a kindness to Gillian.
Alley-oop.
Oh, this does not look like the natural entry.
Okay, not the easiest.
Oh my gosh, it's the bathroom. There seems to be kind of a typical way to see Romania. You go to Brasov, you take the tourist bus to Dracula's castle with hundreds of other people.
Maybe you check out a couple more top sites and that's it. You've done Romania.
Well, that didn't appeal to us at all. We wanted to see a totally different side of the country.
And that's how we ended up here. We're at the very beginning of a week-long hike through Transylvania. We'll be spending our days hiking from one charming village to another.
And at night, we're gonna be tucking into very hearty home-cooked meals in traditional little guest houses.
We've got a beautiful lamb stew. Looks fantastic.
And for me, this kind of experience, this is really what slow travel is all about. Whew. The day is really heating up. So I've got my buff on, I've got these very, very stylish sun sleeves and sunglasses. I think we're all set.
The hike that we're doing is called the Via Transilvanica. Now, don't worry if you've never heard of it before. It's a brand new hike. In fact, it was literally completed just last year.
This trail is pretty epic. It's about 1,400 kilometers long, going right across Romania. Of course, we're only going to be doing one teeny tiny little portion, but I think by the end of the week, it's going to feel long enough.
We're doing this as a self-guided hike in partnership with the Natural Adventure Company.
We've been using their website as inspiration for a lot of the hiking adventures that we get up to, and now we finally get to test one out.
And the trail has been really well marked with these awesome Via Transilvanica markers. We're closing in on our destination for today, which is the village of Biertan, and we can see it right there down below. It doesn't look far, but we're all the way up here, so we still need to wind our way down before we can have that nice cold beer in the village to end our day.
We've made it to the first village of our hike and also the first fortified church, which is right behind me and looks absolutely gorgeous. But by the way, if you're new to our channel and you've never met us before, I think we're overdue to do some quick intros.
Yeah, so I'm Gillian and this is Stephanie. We've got our two exhausted poodles down here, Jasper and Huxley.
So the four of us are traveling the world full time and sharing it as we go. Good morning. We had such a blissful rest stop here in the town of Malancrav, and I honestly think that there's nothing better for a good night's sleep than having a few really hard days on the trail. And isn't this town so charming? So I hadn't known this about Romania before, but apparently this part of Romania, so where we are in Transylvania right now, has historically hosted a few very distinct groups. So there are Romanians, of course, but also Hungarians and also Germans. And in fact, this town that we're in right now has the highest proportion of ethnic Germans of the whole region, which I found really fascinating. And in fact, our host at the guest house that we stayed in let us know right off the bat, she didn't speak English, but she definitely spoke German. I'm just loving the traditional architecture of all these little villages that we're passing through. It seemed to be very important to all the residents to have the year when their home was built. So this one is 1858, that one is 1939. And the other thing that I love is that the residents are not afraid to go with a real pop of color for their homes.
Ooh. All right, we're getting things started with a little mud on the trail. Come on, Jassy. Oi, let's keep those feet dry for at least the beginning. Really squelchy. Ugh. Okay, it had to happen sometime. The main thing is to not fall down. Whew. And now we've got some steady uphill.
Well, this is just getting steeper and steeper. It's quite a way to start our hike this morning. Okay, we finally made it up to the top, and I think that was the big hill push for the day. Whew, made it to the top, and it is beautiful up here. Good boys, let's go.
Discovering these villages like the one we just stayed in really is the reason to be doing the Via Transilvanica. I mean, there are lots of alternatives if you're looking to do an epic hike in Europe.
Of course, there's the Camino hike, and that one is definitely on our bucket list, just like it is for thousands and thousands of other people. There's the Tour Mont Blanc, which is a hike we actually did a number of years ago. And I remember it being really spectacular, but also pretty crowded on the trail. In fact, we had to sleep in a refuge in a very small room with a very large number of people, including one fellow who was, I would say, a championship snorer.
That's why a hike like this is such a treat. It's new, it's basically undiscovered, and you get to stay in these wonderful villages without any other tourists around. And the beautiful nature is definitely a bonus too.
Well, that was a very long, very hot walk, but relief is in sight because I can just see the rooftops of the town that we are headed to. Actually, I think this one's really, truly a tiny little village. It's called Floresti, and I think that all of us, poodles included, will be very happy to arrive. If you have an itch to get way off the beaten path in Romania, I think this place is probably where you need to come. Certainly, tourists do not come here on a regular basis, so it should be a very special experience for us.
So we just need to get past the church and our place should be just on the left.
Well, it's amazing for such a tiny town. I mean, I think it's literally one street. We managed to get slightly lost, so we're looking for number 79, and I think we're gonna find it on the other side of the street. Here we go. And we get a chance to meet the town goats. I think the best part of doing this amazing hike through Romania is that we get to stay at these wonderful little guest houses. So these are just simple little places that are part of an effort to revitalize the local villages, bring people back in to offer some services to the few tourists who are passing through. So that's where we're staying tonight, and I have a feeling it's going to be a very special little place indeed. Hello,
Mulțumesc.
Stephanie.
Ok. Am să vină soția să descuie casa.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. This is a proper village backyard. Here we go inside. Well, this is our place, and it is a true Romanian village house. So this is the real deal. We've got wonderful decorative touches over here. It looks like some real handicraft happening, wooden shutters over there, and a very traditional style stove. So I'm guessing you put a big cauldron of soup, you get that going here, and then a fire below, and it just heats up the whole place. And over here we have an absolutely enormous room. I mean, I guess it was used for a big living room in the past. And we've got a couple of very tall single beds over here. You really have to clamber on top of those. And I'm thinking that village life in Romania is a little on the chilly side because there's yet another wood burning stove right here. And I can see that the walls of the house are extremely thick, so you can really keep out the cold. And it looks like we have a very basic bathroom. So I don't think I'm gonna be spending any leisure time sort of primping in here, but it's gonna get the job done. Stephanie.
Hello, hi, Gillian.
One of the true highlights of staying in these lovely little guest houses is having a beautiful home-cooked meal. We are starting out with a delicious looking soup, and I think that's chicken and noodles and vegetables. And to make it all extra special, they've provided a little cherry liqueur, I believe. Let's give that a try as an aperitif. Really good. Yeah. It's delicious and sweet, but also has some kick to it. That is some home-cooked goodness. It's so reviving after a really hard morning of hiking to have something like a comforting bowl of soup. Wow, look at this. Beautiful. Well, our main course has arrived and everything looks just delicious. So it seems like just a really simple, hearty village lunch. We've got some stewed chicken here. It looks like it's been spiced a little. We have some really yummy looking potatoes. And over here we're seeing something that we've seen on a lot of menus since we got to Romania, and that's just a sort of a salad made up of pickles and roasted pickled peppers. So just something really simple, but a nice contrast, I think, to the potatoes and the chicken. Well, I can assure you that we worked up quite the appetite on that hot walk all the way to this little village. So I'm excited to dig right in.
Today's hike is bringing us through a very special place. It's called the Breite Plateau, and it is a huge grassland area that is full of ancient oak trees. And I've heard that there are hundreds of them here. They're mostly over 400 years old, and some are even 800 years old. So this is just a beautiful setting for today's hike. I have to say that we're feeling pretty spoiled with having this whole thing as a self-guided hike where someone else did all the organizing.
That's right. So you guys know that we're very independent travelers. Well, finding all those great little hikes and all those amazing little inns, it takes a lot of work, especially for Gillian.
I mean, this time all we had to do was show up, and it has been a real luxury.
Yeah, so all the guest houses are booked, all the transfers are taken care of, and we've been given the GPS coordinates, which means I don't have to worry that Gillian is going to take us on some random trail.
I mean, hey, I have an adventurous spirit. What can I say? And because it's self-guided, we get to go at our own pace.
Yeah, we get to take all the little puppy breaks that we need to take.
I mean, those breaks are for them, not for us.
No, this is going off track. Let me just...
There's Stephanie doing a good job navigating.
I think it's actually joining up over here. She slipped away from me, but I got the trail again. Here we are. We've got our orange tea. The plateau with all the oaks was very beautiful. It was also very hot, very sunny. I'm happy to be going back into the woods again. Last night we stayed in a little village that was way off the beaten path. Well, tonight we're doing kind of the exact opposite thing. We are staying in a town that is absolutely on the tourist trail. So this is one of those must-sees if you're in Romania, but there's a very good reason for this. It's supposed to be really beautiful. Oh, wow. So we're catching our first look at the town right now. It's the town of Sighisoara, and I can tell already from way up here, it's gonna be absolutely spectacular. It's been a tough climb up here, but we are almost at the end of our hike, and the view when we get to the top is supposed to be incredible. I can honestly say that I've never ended a hike in a graveyard, but I can't imagine a more picturesque place to be. This is just so peaceful, so magical. We've reached the top, and this is the church that overlooks the town of Sighisoara, and the view that it commands over this valley is absolutely magnificent.
All right, we've seen the church. Now we're headed down into the citadel following this amazing covered staircase. So apparently this is called the Scholar's Staircase because it was built to protect students from the elements as they made their way up to school each day. Well, we've made it to the town square, and as you can see, it's definitely the busiest spot on our tour, the most touristy, but I can see why. It is absolutely charming.
Good morning, everyone. We are just getting ready for breakfast, and then we are heading out on our last hike of this whole trip. But before we go, I wanted to share with you this guest house that we stayed in last night. So we've been staying in a mix of inns, like little hotels, and guest houses, and the inns have been fine, but the guest houses are really special. And this one is, I think, a very cute example. So it's, again, an old village house. So this house has been here since, I think, 1862. So it's been standing a really long time, and I feel like it kind of looks like it always did. I mean, it's got this really old furniture in it. It has lovely textiles that look very handcrafted. It has this wonderful ceramic fireplace, and it has this wonderful piece of furniture that we've been seeing. It's a drawer bed, and I'm very curious to understand how it works. I mean, this one is very tall, so maybe we'll get the tallest member of our family to try it out. I'm not really sure how you're gonna get in, but give it a try.
Don't worry, I can handle it. Alley-oop.
Oh, this does not look like the natural entry.
Okay, not the easiest. There's got to be a better way. But here we go. The bed is actually nice and soft, and I have room for 2 or 3 of my closest friends here to join me.
But it doesn't look like you can actually lie down.
Yeah, I don't fit, to be perfectly honest.
Well, we're all packed up and ready to go. And the best thing is that we don't have to do anything with our luggage or even think about it. So we just leave it behind here, and then it's magically going to appear in the next guest house that we arrive at a little later today.
Well, this is our very own yard outside our guest house, and it's a real farm experience here. There's an area with a variety of birds. I've been hearing a turkey gobble all morning, and I think I can actually see a peacock too, but we're headed this way. Gonna just pick Jasper up because there's quite a lot of barnyard animal poop around. Watch out over there. Okay. Some of the breakfast we've been served in our guest house, but this one is actually at the house of our host, so we're headed over there now. Buenos dias. Well, it's quite a scenic little walk to breakfast. Buenos dias.
All right, it is breakfast time, and I would have to say that this spread is very representative of the kinds of breakfast we've been served here on the Via Transilvanica. So of course, we've been starting every day with a lot of eggs and also a lot of cheese, many different types of cheese. We have some homemade preserves over here, a lot of butter to go with all of this bread we've been served. There has always been a lot of vegetables every morning at breakfast. I'm gonna say that I'll probably not dive into these raw onions as a kindness to Gillian. And we have something a little different here. So at every place we've gone to, there's always something a little bit particular to the host. So in this case, we have some really yummy looking vegetable fritters. I'm dying to try this fritter. Oh my goodness. I want to say zucchini. It's got a really good, fried, yummy, decadent taste for breakfast, and I think it'll be a nice counterpoint with all the fresh vegetables we're having here. Now, I know that you guys are always very interested to hear about how we manage these epic hikes with the dogs. And I would say that this part of Romania has turned out to be very dog friendly. So we have been welcomed into most of the guest houses and inns, and that has all been fine. In terms of fitness, I would say that you do need to be very aware of how your dog can manage a long hiking day. So for our little guys, we know that they can do 10K comfortably, and after that they start getting pretty tired. The only hazard that we have run into with the dogs are the aggressive farm dogs and shepherd dogs that we have encountered along the way. Obviously, we try to give them a very wide berth as we go past, but I would say that those are hazards that any hiker would encounter, and so far we have emerged on the other side totally unscathed.
Well, it has been a long, hot walk, but we finally made it to Viscri. And this village has more tourists than any of the other villages we've stayed in. Maybe it's because the church has UNESCO status, or maybe because King Charles has a house here.
We've been eating all of our meals at these guest houses that we've been staying in, but for today, the final day of our trip here in Transylvania, Gillian decided to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and she found us a gourmet, slow food destination restaurant right here in the middle of this very tiny town called Viscri. Okay, it's back here, and it's in an old barn. It looks rustic chic. What a charming spot. I was not expecting to find anything like this here. Wow. We have two really delicious looking dishes to try. These dishes are using very typical traditional Romanian ingredients, but it's done up in a very elevated way. This one is a potato soup, and it's been made with potatoes and also pickled tarragon, which is a very interesting ingredient. And of course, a huge dollop of sour cream in there. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's really lovely. The tarragon, it's a really mild flavor, but it does add a nice subtle touch. It feels like comfort food. So this is what you want maybe on a cold winter's night. I know it's kind of a steamy hot July, but it's still really delicious. Okay, I'm gonna try the next one now. So this one is a stew, and it's quite different. It is a stew made up of green beans, and then what we have on top are cheese dumplings. So the beans have been stewed in what looks like tomato and carrot and some nice spices. I believe there's a lot of paprika in here. And then I think with these glorious, these glorious looking dumplings. Oh, they're so light and fluffy, and then a nice crisp around them. And then with a little of the green bean stew. That is just perfect. Wow. It's like a nice sharp hit of cheese, and then that really savory stew with it. I'm gonna clean this whole thing right up. It's the end of the trail, and it's the very last guest house of our whole hike. Okay. It's letter B, and it looks like they have left the door open for us. And just like magic, our luggage is already here. I love it. So yet again, we're in one of these Romanian village houses, and I'm very curious to see what it's like inside. All right, let's take a look. Oh my goodness, it's yet another totally adorable little village house. We've got all of the traditional touches that I'm recognizing now. We've got the textiles on the floor, all the lovely old furniture. We've got this huge ceramic fireplace, a few little antiques here and there. And over here we have our drawer bed, which we have now seen in every single one of our village houses. And it is quite a piece of furniture. And I'm having a hard time imagining who is hopping up here every night to go to sleep. I'm gonna give this one a try. And fortunately, there's a bench over here. And I guess you just sort of crawl up here. Okay. I mean, if you move around a lot at night, that is a big fall. All right, I'll stretch out. I feel like it's gonna fit me a lot better than the other one fit Gillian. Yeah, I mean, it works. I just would never wanna sleep up here. How do I get down? Now, the one thing I'm not seeing right away is the bathroom, but I did see a door over here. So let's go take a look. This is either a closet or the bathroom. I don't know which one I'm hoping it is. Oh my gosh, it's the bathroom. Who does this fit? I mean, I'm very short already. Okay, you can stand up in here. It is possible to stand up, and there's like a wee little shower. You can do the full height here. I'm interested to see how Gillian will find it. I mean, she's absolutely gonna bump her head on this. What a funny space.
All right, final thoughts about the hike.
Okay, I think for me, it was basically everything we hoped it would be. We had lovely walks through the forest.
Charming guest houses, although a little on the rustic side.
We're gonna call them authentic. They're extremely authentic village houses.
And I think that we really enjoyed the whole self-guided tour aspect.
Yeah.
No worries about luggage or where we're staying.
Yeah, we just headed off in the morning with our dogs and the GPS coordinates.
I definitely think this hike ranks right up there with some of our other favorites.
Yeah, so this one I enjoyed as much as I enjoyed the Bohemian Paradise hike that we did a little earlier this summer.
That was another incredible hike that is somehow totally unknown to international tourists.
Oh wow, what a way to start our hike this morning.
We're in an area of the Czech Republic called the Bohemian Paradise. I mean, from the name, you can already tell it's sounding really magical. It's an area that's famous for spectacular rock formations, charming villages, and a whole lot of castles.